What is Aeternum? That depends on you.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video, I'm going to be doing a guide on Sword and Shield. Starting off, we're going to do Swordmaster. Swordmaster is mainly used for DPS. You're not using your shield in the Swordmaster tree. What you can do is do one here and then two shield here. So as stated in an earlier video, you are going to be allowed to do double trees, but you're going to half your points. And in order to get the maximum benefit for a specific build, you're going to want to go full points into one area. But as far as this video goes, we're just going to go down one tree at a time and showcase the different abilities for the trees. Every tree has three main abilities: your Q, your E, your R. Well, some people may keybind them differently, but your three abilities, 1, 2, and 3. Right here's your weapon level. Levels 5 out of 20. You can go all the way up to 20, all these points. 11, your final ability, which is like your ultimate. This passive is extremely strong. So this is another reason why you want to go down one tree, is to get the passive. If you go down two trees to begin with, you're not going to get the 11 points to get this passive right off the bat. And most people will be doing that because of the passive is so strong. So for this part of the video, we're going to do Swordmaster abilities. Your first is Whirling Blade. You deal 145% weapon damage to all foes within 2 meters. Your second ability is going to be Reverse Stab, a stab attack that deals 175% weapon damage. Pretty standard. And your Leaping Strike is just an ability that you jump towards them, you do some damage. All these abilities are fairly high cooldown. Now, these little abilities are your passives for this one. So if it's connected, if this line's connecting them, that means it affects this ability directly. So the secondary ability, the secondary passive for this is going to be Reverse Stab, now has Grit, making the attack unstoppable. That is amazing. Grit is extremely important in this game. Grit means you are unstoppable while doing the move. That is what you want. Unstoppable stab. You don't want to be staggered out of your ability and then it cancels and you waste your cooldown. Grit is extremely good to have for anything. Next, you're going to have Tactician. On successful hit with Reverse Stab, all sword cooldowns are reversed by 25%. This is also very good because on a successful hit, all these other cooldowns, including your high and your medium cooldowns, are going to be dropped by 25%. That is amazing. So this move for doing DPS is going to be really important for you to have, not only to do damage on Grit, so guaranteed damage, but you're also going to be able to reduce the cooldown for these two abilities. Opportunity, Whirling Blade deals 5% rend for 10 seconds, reduces armor, rend reduces armor. That's alright. I wouldn't suggest doing that first because armor really early in the game is not really going to affect you too much. So I would focus on getting the Grit because mobs, regular enemies can stop you from hitting. So that's also very important to have. So I would suggest going down the Grit path just to begin with. And Tactical Strike, Whirling Blades reduces cooldown on the ability by 10% for each enemy hit. That is really, really good. Really, really good. Cooldown reduction here. Cooldown reduction here. Very important to have. Very important to have. Okay. Last but not least, your Leaping Strike. This is basically an execute. Final strike. You're going to do more damage when they're at a certain percent of health. Your last passive is going to be Leaping Strike, reduces their movement. That's important to have also for PvP, not really for PvE because most mobs are not going to run away from you. They're going to try to kill you until you kill them. But for PvP, having a slow is going to be extremely important because sometimes people can run away from you. Actually, most of the time people are going to run away from you if you're about to kill them. Or if you're trying to run away yourself, you leap on them, slow them, then book it. These abilities right here that aren't connected to anything are passives that don't directly affect the ability, but affect you as a character yourself. Critical strike chance increase right here by 10%. That's really good. 33% faster while blocking, moving, really good. 10% more damage to slowed enemies, really good. This combos with the slow off of Leaping Strike, really good combo. While on full health, you deal 15% more damage. That's just overall good. More damage, more DPS. That's the name of the game. Successful heavy attack grants you extra damage. That is amazing. really amazing. So every time you heavy attack, you hold your attack button, you're going to be empowered with 30% damage for 5 seconds. That is amazing. That's probably one of the most important ones to have. Final attack in your light chain. So this ability, Achilles Heel, the final attack in your light chain causes another slow. So this is really good to combo with your cowardly punishment slow from your leap strike. If you're doing PvP, I highly suggest getting these slows. Freeing Justice, successfully hitting with a heavy attack will cause you to lose all debuffs. That is beyond good for PvP. In PvP, you're going to be slowed, bleeding, frozen, on fire, everything. All those are debuffs. That's really important because if you successfully hit a heavy attack, you lose them all. So that right there is going to be extremely important for PvP. For PvE, not so much. Most of the time, you're going to be healing, or you're not going to get into a point where you really need to remove a debuff. Now, you might fight some bosses that debuff you, some enemies that bleed you, but I haven't found any issues with that yet. I haven't died frequently to debuffs, so I wouldn't mind too much not having that for PvE, but for PvP, that's a must. Counter attack. When you block an attack, you gain 10% damage for 20 seconds. That is amazing. More damage, better DPS. That's the name of the game. 10% damage every time you block for 20 seconds. That's so good in PvP and PvE. Blocking is such a crucial thing in this game. You're always going to be blocking. Next, critical precision. On critical, gain 20% haste for 5 seconds. Haste gives you movement speed. So for 5 seconds, you're 20% faster. That's amazing. That is really, really good, especially if you're going Swordmaster build, critical. You're always going to be moving fast. That's super good for chasing people down. Combo that with all your slows. For PvP, you're going to be slapping people. For PvE, not so much, but it's still a good ability to have. Confidence. We already spoke about that one. And last but not least, leadership, your ultimate ability. While holding a sword, all grouped members deal damage increase by 10%. That is so freaking good. Everyone in your group does 10% more damage just for you being there. That is such a good passive to have. And that's anyone in your group, including yourself. So that right there is going to be a crucial ultimate passive. So now we're going to showcase some of these abilities. So I don't have the weapon 100% leveled up because, you know, this is closed beta. We don't have time to level up every single weapon to max. But I will try the weapons that, or I will try the passives that I can get to. So I will be doing grit. I will commit. And we're going to find an enemy to test this out on. Right here, perfect contestant. He has no legs. He's not going to run away. So, your Q, Whirling Blade. Once again, you just do damage to everyone around you. It's an AoE, very simple. Your reverse stab, you just deal damage, very simple. Your leap, you jump. So, spin, that was your Q. These are your autos. You can block when you're doing sword and shield. It doesn't matter if you're doing DPS or you're going down the shield path. You're still going to have a shield, so you can block either way. Blocking is amazing in this game. I can literally become invincible until my stamina runs out. And I'm still blocking. Your reverse stab is going to be like that. You do a massive amount of damage. Very simple. You just turn around, you stab him in the stomach with your sword. And your leap. We're going to finish him off with a leap. I missed because he's on the ground. But we'll find someone else to try it out on. So this lucky contender over here. So normally when you're going down the Swordmaster path, you want to kind of just do all your abilities at once. This game's not really mechanically intense. You don't need to really... Early in the game, you're not going to be worried too much about what you need to press. Press everything. If you're not pressing your abilities, you're doing something wrong. So you don't really need to wait unless your ability has a benefit for executing. So if it's an execute move, then wait. But don't sit there auto-attacking with your abilities up, because you're losing DPS, and that's not something you'd want to do. So Q, R, so he hit me with a heavy attack, so I was staggered. So I waited to let him hit me before I did my ability, because otherwise he would stop me. So that's a heavy attack. We leap, strike, and then finish him. Simple. That's going to be your Swordmaster tree. My tip for the Swordmaster tree, once again, is going to be for PvP, get the slows. For PvP, you're going to want the slows. Achilles heel, cowardly punishment. Critical precision will give you movement speed every critical hit. That's amazing for PvP. What else do we have here? Mobility, moving faster while blocking. Amazing for PvP. Any type of mobility or taking away mobility from someone else is going to be crucial in PvP. In PvE, you're going to want all these extra damage abilities. Empowered stab. You're going to want precision. You're going to want tactician for cooldown reduction. You're going to want confidence and definitely leadership. So that's about it for the Sword and Shield Swordmaster side of the tree. Now we're going to respec for free. And we're going to Defender. This is the shield side of the tree. This is going to be the tank side of the tree. Now we're going to go down to Defender tree. I currently play Defender because of how strong it is. Shield Rush is going to be your number 1 ability. Rushing forward, dealing 125% weapon damage and knocking foes back. 20-second cooldown. You're going to notice Defender has way higher cooldowns than Swordmaster, but it comes with its own benefits. Defender's going to give you a lot of defense stats and defense abilities to allow you to survive while your cooldowns come back. Shield Rush. Very important move to have. It's good for gap closing. It's good for escaping. Shield Bash. Dealing a little bit of damage, so 50%, and stunning them for 2 seconds. That is important because you can stun a mob that's about to heavy attack you, and I'll be able to showcase that in a little bit when we do the abilities rundown. One other thing I want to note is this is taunt gem compatible. If you have a carnelian gem and you equipped it in your sword, this ability will cause 6-second taunt to all enemies hit. Taunt causes monsters to focus on only you. That is so important for a tank to taunt enemies because you don't want the enemies killing your friends or your group. You want them focused on yourself. So we're going to move through this a little bit quicker. Intimidating Bash. Shield Bash will greatly increase threat, 100% more damage. So your Shield Bash no longer does 50%. It does 150%, and it greatly increases threat, meaning the enemies you hit with that is going to make them hit you. So threat is the factor in what the enemies hit. If your friend is hitting something and generating a lot of threat, the enemies are going to want to attack that guy first. So you definitely as a tank want to have high threat. You want to be threatening, so they attack you and not your friends. Concussive Bash. Shield Bash stun duration is increased by 1 second. That is... I don't know how much that's going to be useful in PvE, but in PvP, 1 extra second is amazing. Because there's a lot that can happen in 1 second. And in PvE, you're not going to need to stun an enemy for 3 seconds because they're most likely going to be dead in the first 2. Maybe useful for bosses, but you know, I wouldn't put a skill point in this solely because you're going to want to try to get more points into the other ones that are much better early on. So moving to the Shield Rush ability, we're going to go down that tree really fast. We're going to see improved rush. On successful hit, all enemies will get weakness by 10% for 4 seconds. So if you hit an enemy with your Shield Rush, they're going to gain weakness. It reduces their damage. So 10% damage reduction for 4 seconds. That's really good for tanks for reducing damage. Intimidating Rush. This is going to be a PvP move. You're going to basically get slow when you hit an enemy with your dash, with your shield rush. It basically slows them. On hit, all enemies you hit, 30% slow. PvP moves. Remember, movement, deduction, abilities, and passives are for PvP. Movement, deduction, passive, PvP. Damage, defense, all the other goodies, PvE. You don't really need to worry about movement reduction stuff for PvE because, like I said, the enemies are going to be attacking you and killing you regardless. Defiant Stance. This is your final ability. This is your highest cooldown at 44 seconds. The others are 20 seconds and 25 seconds. This is your 45-second cooldown. And the reason why it's so strong, or the reason why it's so long of a cooldown, is because it's so strong. For 8 seconds, reducing the incoming damage by 30%. Makes you a brick wall, practically, right? You want to use this for bosses. You want to use this for when you're about to die. You want to use this in as much as possible. Every time that ability is up, use it. It's going to make you a brick wall. You're never going to have a problem playing this game if you're a brick wall. Passives. If your health is above 50%, your damage reduction is increased by 20%. So basically, you just went from a brick wall to a freaking tank. Now, you're a tank, right? Brick wall, you can still be knocked down. A tank, you're going to need a lot more to knock you down. So you went from 30% damage reduction to 50% damage reduction. That's insane. while you're above 50% health. Okay, lastly, restoration, gain 15% of your health when your Defiant Stance ends. So it's basically a little self-heal you get. When it ends, you're going to heal yourself 15%. Your passive that aren't linked to abilities are going to be Sturdy Shield, grants an additional 15% physical armor. That is amazing to have. You just have a flat-out additional armor increase. I have that one myself. Elemental Resistance reduces damage from all magical types by 10%. This is really good in any scenario where you're fighting a magical enemy and they're doing massive amounts of damage. For PvP, this is people with Ice Gauntlets, people with Fire Staffs. So that's really good to have just a flat reduction. One with the shield is going to be your Hourglass passive. When you block with a shield, all shield skills recharge 1%. It's basically a cooldown reduction for all your other abilities. Every time you block, you're reducing cooldowns 1%. Final Blow, the third attack in your light attack deals 15% more damage and causes more threat. This is really good if you don't have a taunt gem. With Sturdy Grip, stamina damage is reduced by 15% when blocking a melee attack with a shield. This is really good in any scenario where you're blocking, so pretty much always. Definitely go for Sturdy Grip. Stamina damage is reduced by 15% when blocking a melee attack with a shield, so the amount of stamina you lose when you get hit is reduced. That's what that means. So it allows you to block more. Defensive Training, when you block an attack, gain 10% Fortify for 5 seconds. That's really good. Fortify increases your defenses. Pretty simple. Every time you block, you gain Fortify. Super, super good. 10% Fortify. So 10% increased defenses. Stamina damage is reduced by 15% when blocking a range attack with a shield. So basically now it's the same thing as Sturdy Grip. Melee attack, you reduce 15% stamina damage. Range attack, you reduce 15% stamina damage. Fortitude, while holding a shield, your current and max health are increased by 10%. So just by having your sword and shield out, you're going to get increased 10% health. If you put it away, you lose the 10%, but you get it back as soon as you pull your weapon back out. Recuperation, all incoming healing and regeneration is increased by 10%. Increases your healing received and your flat regen by 10%. Always good for a tank. Once again, this is the tank tree, so all those are going to be good. Last but not least, defensive formation. While blocking, reduce damage to all allies within 2 meters by 30%. Now, every time you block, you're reducing 30% damage to everyone on a 1-second cooldown. Do I need to explain how broken that sounds? 30% damage reduction to everyone that's around you every 1 second. Now we're going to test out the abilities, and we're going to conclude the video on what my personal tips and what my personal ideas on what you should run if you want to go down the sword and shield path. So, your Q, Shield Bash, it's a dash. He's heavy attacking. We're going to wait for that. Blocking, as you can see, we only went down to 74%. He was stunned. He was taunted. It shows a little sign when he's taunted, a little black symbol. That's like a lightning bolt. I'll try to do it on this one so you guys can see it's really quick. You have to pay attention to the middle of the screen where my crosshair is. You're going to see the taunted symbol. We're going to Shield Bash. We're going to hold block. Look above my health bar. The yellow stamina bar is my block. When it goes down to 0, I can no longer block. His heavy attack took a lot out of the stamina bar. His light attacks don't really do much. So we're just going to hold it right here. As you can see, I'm still full health. He hasn't touched me once. Now we got 2 people. Now the party started. So we can stun them both. As you can see, taunted. Oh, now we got 3. Now this is where we like to do stuff. So this is a good example on when you're going to use your defense ability. So I'm going to actually drop my defenses. I use my increased defenses. I'm taking very little damage, and I'm getting hit by 3 level 20 mobs. I killed all 3 of them at full HP. I killed them all 3, and I only went down to 75% health, and that was with my increased defense ability. That alone just shows you how strong this class is going to be. Defender, hands down, if you're going to run Sword and Shield, go Defender tree. It still does a massive amount of damage. You have so much potential for solo play if you're going down the Defender tree and you play alone. If you guys want to see more content like this, make sure you guys like and subscribe to see future videos. Make sure you keep up with the channel to keep up with that content. Thank you guys.